Winter, 1864. A yeoman guard on the battlements lifts his lantern and spots a pale shape gliding beside the Queen's house.
Halt, who goes there?
No reply. The woman in white drifts on, head tucked under her arm, eyes staring straight ahead. He lunges, bayonet swipes nothing but cold air. She vanishes. Every torch along the corridor snuffs out behind her. The sentry kept his post, but he never quite got his nerve back. Hard to blame him. He'd just met Anne Boleyn, and she's been clocking in for 4 centuries and counting. I'm not here for cheap jump scares. The Tower of London is crammed with stories that won't stay buried, and each royal ghost is a page in England's bloodiest chapter. Let's read a few. William the Conqueror threw up the first stones in 1078 as a blunt message, "I'm in charge." Down the centuries, the place morphed from palace to prison, mint, menagerie, and finally a stage for public tragedy. Traitor's Gate, Tower Green Scaffold, the oubliette under Wakefield Tower. Every slab drank in centuries of sweat, tears, and blood. When a building's day job includes executions, disappearances, and whispered plots, folklore says the walls remember. Eyewitnesses say the dead simply never packed up. Everyone knows the headline: Henry VIII's second wife, mother of Elizabeth I, beheaded on trumped-up charges, the 19th of May, 1536. Within weeks, the sightings started. A Portuguese merchant in 1537 saw the thin queen walking the inmost court, wringing her hands. During the 1800s, a guard captain logged a female shape in Tudor green slipping through a locked doorway on the anniversary of her arrest. 2 other sentries signed witness statements, so the entry stuck. In 1933, a Daily Mail photographer developed a shot of St. Peter ad Vincula's altar steps. No one inside, yet a pale silhouette stands there. Most encounters cluster around Tower Green and the chapel where she's buried. Anne's apparition is calm, almost regal, right up to the moment her smile reminds you she's carrying her head. Edward V, 12, and Richard Duke of York, 9, were hustled into the tower in 1483 by their uncle, soon Richard III. Summer ended, the boys vanished. In 1674, workmen unearthed a wooden box holding 2 small skeletons beneath a stair. Charles II reinterred them at Westminster Abbey, yet many think the princes never found rest. Night duty constables still hear light, quick footsteps on the White Tower stairs.
One officer, interviewed by the BBC in the 1990s, felt repeated tugs on his greatcoat, like a kid demanding attention. "They kept tugging at my greatcoat like a kid wanting attention."
Twilight visitors near the Bloody Tower report soft voices. "We want Mama." Even the ravens shuffle and croak at that exact spot. Birds, legend says, know when kids who never grew up are still asking to go home. Protestant teenager pawn in a failed coup, queen for 9 days in July 1553. Jane watched her husband's execution from a tower window, then knelt on the same block, the 12th of February 1554. Her ghost is said to retrace that final walk from the Queen's house to Tower Green. In 1859, a patrol of the Buffs saw a ribbon of white light that drifted like silk against the wind, pausing on the same paving stone every time. A corporal who stepped into the glow said the cold numbed my teeth. Sightings spike each February, sometimes carrying the scent of lily of the valley, Jane's favorite flower, found pressed in the farewell letters she wrote the night before she died. Pious but hopeless as king, Henry VI was imprisoned in the Tower during the Wars of the Roses. On the 21st of May, 1471, he died, officially of pure displeasure, though a dagger probably helped. Every year at midnight on the anniversary, chaplains in the King's private chapel report hearing Henry's thin voice reciting the Lord's Prayer, always stopping at, "Deliver us from evil." In 1817, a new verger opened the chapel to investigate. He found it empty, yet every candle guttered as if someone had exhaled hard breath. Queen Victoria ordered the room sealed after hours, yet staff still hear the prayer slide through the keyhole. The king's shade is said to stand beneath the oriel window until cockcrow, then dissolve like dust on the wind. Explorer, poet, courtier, long-term prisoner, Raleigh spent 13 years in the Bloody Tower before his beheading in 1618. Guards report a tall man in charcoal-gray doublet pacing the parapet, pausing as though hunting for a rhyme. In 1995, an American tourist met him. She described colonial-looking boots and a purposeful stride that ended at a doorway sealed since Georgian times. The smell of fresh tobacco, Raleigh's imported pride, often lingers. One yeoman told the Evening Standard he found his baccy tin open and a single leaf missing the morning after a sighting. Raleigh seems calmer than most residents, maybe because every horizon he ever chased finally shrank to these few gray walls. Margaret was 67 when Henry VIII sent her to the block in 1541. The executioner botched the job. Chroniclers claimed she ran headless around the scaffold. Visitors near St. Peter's Chapel still hear a scrape, then labored breathing and stumbling steps. In 1971, a Canadian school group felt the ground shudder as a veiled Tudor lady sprinted past, blood staining the collar. Their teacher said the vision looped 3 times, fainter each run, like a tape wearing out. Margaret's is the tower's most kinetic haunting. People feel a breeze though the windows are sealed. Maybe her ghost runs because she never got to stand still in life. Today, the tower is a jewel vault and tourist magnet ring-fenced by yeoman warders and 24-hour CCTV. Night vision footage from 2004 shows a shape in the byward corridor that trips motion alarms yet leaves no heat signature. In 2014, a monitor jockey spotted a medieval figure strolling across the dry moat. Police dogs refused to patrol that sector for weeks. Each log is stamped, signed, stored. Skeptics blame foxes or lens flare. The accounts keep stacking. Warders rotate every 6 months. The Ministry of Defense quietly files the reports because, as one memo says, repeated corroboration merits record, even if we can't explain it. Historian Susanna Lipscomb says ghost stories sanitize horror. We turn a crude execution into candlelit folklore so we can sleep. Parapsychologist Kieran O'Keefe counters that limestone water and magnetic quirks can store and replay emotion. Both agree the tower's layout, spiral stairs, arrow-slit windows, labyrinths, breeds shadow and confusion. Add centuries of suggestion and you've got a perfect psychological storm. Yet even hardened skeptics pause when the witness is a guard with no prior belief and zero appetite for ridicule. The argument itself keeps the lights flickering. Day tours are lively. Twilight tours are when the mood tilts. Guides say, stay with the group, especially near the Queen's house. Don't joke about the dead. A yeoman lost his voice for a week after quipping that Anne Boleyn needed a hat. If you smell jasmine where none grows, move along. That's Jane Grey asking for solitude. Snap photos but avoid flashing into dark corners. Some visitors develop prints to find extra faces. Whether you come for history or haunting, remember you're walking on 1,000 years of power and pain. Respect costs nothing, exorcisms cost rather more. Which tale edges under your skin? Anne's headless vigil or the princess's tiny footsteps? Tell us in the comments. If you visited, share what you sensed. Like, share, and haunt that subscribe button for more history that refuses to stay politely in the past. The Tower of London isn't just stone and tradition. It's England's longest-running crime scene. Anne, the princes, Jane, Henry, Walter, Margaret, they refuse to fade because their stories are etched down the nation's spine. They linger as reminders that crowns can cut. Justice can be blind cruelty, and sometimes the only court left to petition is eternity. So next time you see the tower gleaming beside the Thames, look again at those lit windows. One of them might be looking back, waiting for someone to acknowledge a history that still bleeds.